Hello everyone, and welcome back to 30 videos over 30 days. I'm Stephen Finney, the CEO of Elite Energy Consultant, and I'm glad you're watching these videos. Today I'm joined again by Pete Ashton, our product owner for production management. Pete, give us a short introduction to those who have not met you before.
Hello, I'm Pete Ashton, and I'm the Elite Product Owner for Upstream Production Management. And I'd like to talk to you today a little bit about short-term production forecasting.
Thank you, Pete. Tell me, what do you consider when you design a new solution for production forecasting?
When it comes to the design of business processes and solutions, I always like to start with the end in mind. And by that, I mean identify what are the objectives, who are the customers, and what are the downstream processes, when is the output needed, and what's the required forecasting horizon. So what are the objectives? Typically, these are maximizing the revenue through the production of multiple products whilst meeting physical and commercial constraints. The objective also will be to provide an accurate input to the next process. So what are those next processes? Well, offtake scheduling and gas nominations and scheduling are typical processes that we'll use to production forecast. When is the output needed? Well, that's going to be dictated by the gas sales agreements and the lifting agreements. For instance, you may need to issue a forecast every Friday or on the 10th of the month. And what's the required forecasting horizon? Again, that's going to be dictated by those gas sales agreements and lifting agreements. So it could be annual, every 5 months, 3 months, a month look ahead, and typically updated on a weekly basis.
Interesting, Pete. What else do you consider when selecting a forecasting solution?
When it comes to selecting a solution, I think it's important to consider the dominant uncertainty. So when you think about long-term forecasts, the dominant uncertainty is going to be in the reservoir, like what's the reservoir size, permeability, porosity. So therefore, basing a forecast on a reservoir model could be a very good choice. On the other hand, when it comes to short-term forecasts, the uncertainty could be around things like, when is the next new well going to come on stream? What's its initial rate going to be? What's the decline going to be? And then the uncertainty in the planned and unplanned losses, such as trips or unplanned activities. So the solution should be able to quickly evaluate different scenarios and changes in plan. It needs to be able to provide the most probable production profile based on the most likely scenario, while still giving you an indication of what the possible range in forecast could be, so that you can mitigate your risks.
Pete, tell me, what are some of the advantages of implementing the Elite forecasting application for clients?
So what are the advantages of Elite's forecasting solution? Well, I'd like to talk about just 4 things. The database, the structure it provides, the flexibility, and the easiness of importing and viewing the results. So when it comes to the database, the forecasting application sits on the same database we use to store our potentials, our physical constraints, our commercial agreements and constraints that come from them, and objectives, the actual production, and also the downstream processes such as the gas sales and nominations and offtake scheduling. Structure that allows us to both create forecasts and store forecasts, so we can compare short term against medium term and long term. And again, because it's on the same database as the actual production, we can easily compare forecast against actual. The structure also allows us to store the planning assumptions that go as the input into each of those forecasts, so we can easily check what was the planning assumption for each scenario or each forecast. So when we're trying to understand why is one version changed against another, or why is the short term different from the medium term, we can compare the planning assumptions to check if they're inconsistent. Now, the flexibility of the system allows us, as I mentioned before, to both create and store different forecasts of different horizons and different scenarios. It also is based on a nodal structure, so we can easily adapt it to any production system or network. And it has the flexibility that we can forecast for any horizon, whether it's 1 month, 3 months, 5 months, a year, 5 years. And we can adapt the granularity to fit the forecasting horizon. So we could have a 1-day granularity, 1 month, 1 year, and we could be looking at activities of a granularity of, say, half an hour, which we've done in the past. Lastly, the easiness of importing and viewing the results. It's very easy to import data that's such as well potentials and decline rates, which are typically stored in Excel. Very easy to import the activity plan from P6, so we can quickly import the activity plan, run a scenario, check the forecast, run a different scenario, run a forecast, check the scenario, so we can find the optimum activity plan. And it's easy to view the results because we use Power BI as our dashboards, and because all the data is in the same database, we can quickly compare and view through those dashboards actual against plan, forecast against forecast.
Thanks for this, Pete. Really appreciate you supporting us. And thanks for everyone for watching. As ever, comment down below and we'll see you again soon.